you go to not only this huge city with full of possibilities for everything, but you go to a conference and they're not celebrities, but they're kind of celebrities to us because they're people that have experience, that know what they're doing, know what they're talking about, and you're right in front of them, you know? It's just so inspiring, and to hear their stories and to hear where they've come from and think, okay, I can do that too, and it gives you ideas, it helps you in so many different ways.
Seeing all the different kinds of college newspapers there, it's nice to know like there's such a big community out there of college newspapers.
You get to hear all the experiences from people who work at the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all this stuff, and you get to hear all their experiences, and you get to hear that you're not the only one, like they were in the same position you were.
There was one session and it was led by the New York Times. She worked for the New York Times as an editor for 25 years, and she was awesome because it was little tips and tricks just to help it in like 5 minutes make your editing process so much easier.
I'm really excited to make more videos. And the keynote speaker from Vice, he really opened my eye to video making.
We had the founder of Infogram and Silk come in and show us how to use their programs.
Some of the people there had really great stories.
My favorite part of the trip was definitely the 9/11 museum. I thought it was really well done and very reflective and sad and emotional, but I really liked it. It was really beautiful and peaceful, and it's probably my favorite part. When you know what happened and you acknowledge that it happened, but you never really, I never really understood it all until I was there, and I was like, oh my god, you see all the names and everything. It was so pretty. Like the marble and the tiles and the big reading rooms and study rooms, like it was all so pretty. Like I think if I lived in New York, which I never will, if I was still in school, like I would go there to study, I would take my kids there, I would do everything I could in that library because it was so awesome.
MoMA was cool. Dan got a lot out of it. He understands art now.
That was this big white canvas that was probably like this big, and the whole thing was just painted white, but at the very edge he didn't take the brush all the way to the edge, and Dan apparently figured out the meaning of this painting, the meaning of life, and he figured out all of the unanswered questions about God apparently just by looking at this one painting.
Left the conference at around 12:30. I headed up to Sirius XM Studios, and I got to sit in the studio of the Covino and Rich show, Sirius XM.
One of my favorite parts of the New York trip was going to the Today Show and waking up early to go see it. I got to see Al Roker and Carson Daly.
New York City is the best place to live ever, and this library is awesome, and I would move here in a heartbeat.
I know we had to get on the one that was 3 letters and it was yellow. It was Yellow Train.
New York lives up to the hype, no question about it.
Times Square at like 1 in the morning, and it felt like it was daytime still because it was so bright, and
I feel like this mustard is really spicy, and that's like symbolic of New York and its people.
So I missed the cheesecake.
Cheesecake was so good, and if I would go back to New York just for the cheesecake.
Cheesecake was phenomenal. I really liked it. It was the best cheesecake ever, even though it was $7, but totally worth it.
Amazing. The best cheesecake of my life.